This is going to be a nice call. And then hopefully we will splice in some live stream history as we go with this hand history. Hello, Mr. Tafu. You're up next. Hello.
Hey Bart, it's thanks for taking me.
Is it Tafu or
Usually people say Tafu.
So Tafu played on Max Payne Monday a couple weeks ago, which seems to be the talk of all of the poker community. As I talked about this whole thing with Billy DGAF winning, I guess, a lot of money over the last few months. Like I said, I don't know him really all that well personally, but there's a lot of people that I do know that speak very highly of him. I would be very surprised if he was up to anything. But this is sort of the game that he puts together. And they've been following this whole Hustler sort of drama, the whole thing where I think this dude Beans from Kansas City played in this game and then got Robbie into, or introduced Robbie to Hustler Casino Live or something like that. But yeah, that's the backstory. But okay, so you're playing Max Payne Monday, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It was about like 3 weeks ago.
Yep. All right, cool. And what's the game? Was it like 5, 10, 25, 50, something like that?
Yeah, it was a 10, 20, 20 with a big blind ante and then a $40 straddle. And then there was one particular opponent that was, I guess, Mississippi straddling, which was allowed in this game for anywhere from $100 to $200 for most of the hands.
Was that the bank guy? Was that the villain?
Yeah, that was Bank. And he, for context, plays a lot of $10,000 plus tournaments, and he plays Baccarat for hundreds of thousands of dollars a hand. So the money didn't really seem that important to him.
Yeah. So 10, 20, 20 with a 20 plus 40, sometimes Mississippi straddle. By the way, I think you're out of seat 1 in this hand, right? Is that right?
That is correct. I was seat 1.
Okay. And this is on September 19th. Okay. All right. So how deep are you?
Yeah, so effective stacks were about $13,000, and I believe there was $100 double straddle in the hands, so effectively 130 big blinds.
$100 Mississippi from somewhere? Is that what it was?
Yes, I forget where exactly.
All right. So 10, 10, 20 plus 40 plus 100, some bullshit like that, Mississippi style?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is one just reminds me of Texas a little bit, where you just got to watch where you are, because it can be very easy to start opening hands because you're like, I'm on the button. But with 6 straddles, you're actually first to act. But what position were you in this hand?
I was in the big blind for this particular hand, so I already had about $40 in, I believe.
Okay, you're on the big blind. Okay.
Bank wasn't a dealer, and he was rather aggressive, playing a wide variety of hands. I think by the end of the night, he had a 50% VPIP, so he was the highest player in the night. He opened to 300 from dealer.
So this is the villain is Bank, right? His name is Bank, and he's on the button, and he opens to 300, okay, from the button, and you are in the big blind, which is like, so you probably have at least 2 blinds behind you, right?
Yes.
We got the straddle, one of the 20, the third blind in the straddle. Okay. And what do you have?
I have King 4 suited, and their spades. And there was an interesting dynamic where behind me was DGAF, I believe, and every time I called, he was squeezing pretty wide. So I knew if I took the call line here, there was a very high chance that I was just going to get open to repop to 1500 to 2K. So given that,
well, you have to be aware of people, so you can't make speculative calls in the middle blinds when people are squeezing, right? But you can just fold. But you can just fold though.
I could. I think the other dilemma I had, right, if I want to be invited back, I understand that my VPIP can't be really low, and so that was the kind of dilemma I had throughout the night, where not only did I have DGAF re-popping straddle squeezes all day, I kept trying to figure out where could I possibly get my VPIP higher and make something interesting happen, but also understanding, to your point, I could have just folded the hand.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. I've been in that spot where I'm like, I want to get invited back. But you're only 130 effective here, so this is more of kind of a blockerish type of play. I would like to have a hand that has a little more playability if called. So what did you do? You 3-bet?
I 3-bet to 1,000. In hindsight, should probably raise it to like 1,300, but raise it to 1,000.
Yeah, that's kind of small from out of position with all that dead money out there. I don't know if that this guy who's V-pipping 50% is ever going to be folding to a 1K 3-bet. I don't know what your image was at the time, how tight your was, but usually when a guy's playing 50% V-pip, he's not folding to a 3-bet anyways, and certainly not just this sizing, which is how you basically... And the way you counter that is you 3-bet linearly to death, meaning like you start taking even some hands that you wouldn't even be in your 3-bet range and do it for value like sevens. But for those reasons, I probably wouldn't do it with king 4. But okay, so you 3-bet to 1,000.
Yep. So folded. Everyone else folded. Bank called with his hand, so he closed the action in this case.
Okay, so bank calls and the pot's probably, who knows, like 2,100, something like that, right?
This is like 2130.
Okay, so 2130, you're out of position with king 4 spades against this guy who's V-pipping hard on Max Payne Monday. And then, of course, you need to slow roll if you win the hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so on to the flop.
Yeah, so flop was queen of clubs, 9 of clubs, 9 of diamonds.
Queen of clubs, 9 of clubs, what was it? 9 of diamonds?
You got it.
I don't know, man. I might just give up here or just bet really, really small, but just to like... I mean, it's interesting how a guy like constructs like a 50% V-pip here. Because when you are ahead here, he has just whiffed. It's just very, very hard to play this hand as like a check call here with king high. I mean, I guess it's slightly better than like 6, 7, 9 or something, like 2 hearts. But it's just interesting to see how someone said open fold. That's very funny. YG, yeah. I kind of want to check here because who knows? You might actually get it to showdown somehow, and you might win. But I don't know if I would start betting here.
Yeah, totally agree. I think with my particular hand, I think check folding or giving up at any point in the hand was a more than valid line.
Yeah.
I think I opted to just bet range here, so I bet a third pot. I think I would do this with a bunch of hands. Also understand that he can have a lot of 9Xs here and a lot of value hands, given how wide he's playing. So
yeah, but I don't think that this is like the board where it's a range. I mean, it's a late position open versus a blind 3-bet on this board. I don't think this is going to be a range bet on this particular texture. This is not queen 7 deuce rainbow or something like that. But if you're saying you're going to make a range bet, I hope you made it for 1/3 or less.
Yeah, so I did it for exactly 700.
Okay, so hero bets 700.
And bank calls, and that led us to the turn.
Okay, so pot is now 35-10. Onto the turn, okay.
Yeah, so the turn comes, and it was the ace of hearts.
The ace of hearts, okay.
I end up betting 2,600, which is about like 80% pot.
What do I think about your bet here, though? I don't think you need to go 2/3. I think I might use block sizing. Now, if I was going to give up on the flop and you did this, I think you can probably block turn and get a lot of folds. I don't know if you need to overbet because again, you're still going to be checking some of the time with a 9. I mean, this is just me off the cuff here. 1,300, something like that. I mean, I get it that it's obviously a disconnected high card for you, and maybe you get a queen to fold out here. But if you go 2,600 here and he calls, I think I'm giving up, though, at the end. It's interesting here with this sizing. I kind of want to take a little bit of a block sizing here, but hero bets 2,600.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he ends up calling, and to your point, I think the 9s should have been more scary, and I think I 100% agree that your block bet makes more sense in folding out what I need to fold out, but also not like value owning myself with 9X and maybe full houses. He's playing slow here.
Well, I mean, again, it's interesting to just kind of think about the way that somebody constructs like a 50%, V-pip range. All pairs worse than queen fold to this small size. Yeah, that is definitely true. Gut shot's probably going to like king 10, king jack, which actually are hands that you want to have fold. So you go 2,600. I assume he calls.
Yes, he calls. And so
So now the pot is 87,
87.30.
and you have about, what is it, like you've put in, what, 26 and 733, 44. So you probably have, what, like 8 or 9,000 left? Like about a pot size bet left, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So river comes the Jack of Hearts.
Oh my God, Mr. Tafu.
Yeah.
Give
Um,
up. Give up. Now, this is true.
I
The Jack of Hearts. So the barrel on the Ace of Hearts is not that bad. Because you got there. I mean, I think we can all agree that probably check, well, folding pre, check folding flop, but I don't mind barrel. It's a question of your sizing. But now I
yeah.
don't know, man.
So I think at this point,
Queen 9-9, Ace Jack, front door clubs obviously have busted out. You have one full pot size bet left, and people are saying jam, jam, jam. I mean, it's interesting in the sense of, do we need to jam here? Let me just throw a couple scenarios out here. Let's say that Ace X is not going to fold, whether it's Ace of Clubs, Ace X of Clubs, Ace Queen, something like that is not going to fold, right? But let's also say, see, it's interesting though because you used the 2/3 sizing. I was going to say, let's also say that he has some like, still some Queen X if you had bet smaller on the turn, like I'm advocating. But let's say he has still stuck around with some Queen X, he's sticky, or like a Jack 10 type of hand. Do you need to jam here? I think a lot of people are like, whoa, we want to go polar, 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 gave the guy the worst price. That's true, but I'm just saying that if there's a specific portion of his range that we want to fold out here, can we be a little bit more efficient here than necessarily jamming is kind of what my take is if I got here like this.
I think a large part here was figuring out like what draws end up to the river. So like I think there are a lot of combo draws that still unfortunately beat my king high. So I agree with you that it'd be really hard to get ace X to fold here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I was thinking, is there a Jack X or a Queen X hands or even like random pocket tens that I need to get to fold here?
Right, but
given that I just
right, but do you need to jam those hands though? Can you just go like, can you take like a even like a like a tooth, even like 5,000, something like that?
Yeah, so that's what I ended up doing. I bet 5,500,
Oh, okay.
understanding that I was gonna lose to like the nutted hands, like any 9x,
I do wonder if
King
you could
10.
even go smaller than that though. If we're just trying to fold out Queen X and Jack X, could we go 3,000? It because you look so strong when you go bet 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 like this. Like again on the turn, I probably wouldn't have taken that two third sizing here. So it's a little bit hard because when you take the 2/3 and he calls, I think it complicates things just a little bit. But I'm glad you didn't jam though. I am glad that you didn't jam because I
Yeah,
think that would have been a huge spew. Because I don't know why jamming what jamming would do here as opposed to betting smaller. So you go 5,000, okay.
or 5,500 more
50,
specifically.
5,500, okay. Uh-huh.
Bank ends up jamming.
He jams for another 3,000?
Yeah, he jams.
Oh my God. Well, so he, boy, you must, so you go 55, you 3-bet pre-flop, you go 55 into 87, and he jams for 3,000 more. So the pot is like 23,000, 3,000 for you to call, and you fold. I hope you just snap folded. Like, what was the pace of your fold? That would be gangsta street.
I folded within 5 seconds.
Okay,
Like I
that's
was
good.
just like,
You didn't
like this
posture.
sucks.
You didn't
Yeah.
posture getting 7-1. Well, we'll know the reveal. What did he end up having?
He had aces.
Aces?
Yeah,
He flatted pre-flop with aces?
yeah, he flatted
Oh, wow.
pre-flop with aces, which shocked me.
That's
But
crazy.
I think given stack
Oh my-
depths, and
I mean, once in a while you can play it tricky like that if you're him, with this type of dynamic. And then if for some reason I got here, I mean, I'm usually putting in the last bet here with aces, but it's not super deep. Like you said, maybe he thought you were going to blast off. But so if I was ever in this position with the aces going post, I mean, I would play it pretty much the same way that the guy. I mean, what can you do? He's gonna flat the flop, right? He's gonna, he's gonna call the turn. And how did you end? And obviously, we know that you're telling 100% the truth because we'll cut this from the footage. But how did you end up for the night?
Yeah, so it was an interesting story. So there's usually a game that goes after the stream. Unfortunately, this killed the majority of my profits. I went negative on the stream, mostly because this hand went down about 7K. And then I more or less broke even after the stream was over. So it was fun. It was definitely swingy.
How long did the stream go until after the show?
It usually goes really late, so I think I stay there for another 3-4 hours.
Well, I mean, the last two times I went to Hustler, which was the big game with Alan Keating, and then obviously this clusterfuck last time, I didn't get a chance to play. I was supposed to play both times, and then there were big games going. But this time, which I'm super excited about going, I'm actually going a week from Friday because they're doing Helmuth, Keating, the All In podcast guys. And then it should be a regular anti-game on Thursday. So I'm going to go lock and loaded, and hopefully the game will go after the fact too. But Mr. Tafu, thank you very much for the call. You have heart, I will say. That was the first time you played, and have you been invited back?
I played on Live at the Bike 2 to 3 times, but that was more for esports.
Live at the Bike. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
might be.
No, it's fine. Obviously, there's much better lineups at Hustler, right?
But for sure, and in addition, I live not too far away, so I'll make sure to drop by and get you a drink or whatever you want.
Sounds good. All right, buddy. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.